Hello, welcome to Frank's School and Frank's Books. Here's the Canadian Settler's Guide. This is going to be the first in a short series I want to show you today about interests that developed in just how do you live simply. This was originally beer. There we go. This was 1885. This was for Canadian people that came didn't have the skills and the knowledge for what they were going to need as a settler. And it's interesting, very interesting. Cheese, how do you make it? How do you make candles? How do you make curing meat? Good, and gardening. Here's more. Indian rice soap making. Venison. This is... I probably have this because of the Whole Earth Catalog. I'm guessing that's how I would have known about it. Read it. I found it fascinating. Many a mid-19th century female settler must have had cause to feel gratitude. Okay, there's one. Now, in the 1970s, let's see, when The Complete American Housewife, 1776, being a collection of the most approved recipes of American colonies, to which is added. Let's see when this was produced, if it's going to say nitty-gritty books. 1974. Yeah, you see, this is a sort of spirit of the time, that interest in simple ways and some of the knowledge that you need. Bread, all sorts. I've been interested recently in sourdough bread. And probably it would say in here just how you do sourdough bread. Anyway, good. This has to do with sort of techniques and the techniques of the housewife. Here's still another one of about that time. Country Women, a handbook for the new farmer. See, the new farmer. How to negotiate a land purchase, dig a well. Country Women. Now, another thing... this was given to my mom in 1976. Another thing that was very much a spirit of that time was women's liberation. So, country women. You don't have to be a man to be a farmer. I haven't looked that much at this, but I'm sure it's good, and I'm sure it gives good advice. Carpentry and hand tools. Glad to have it. Maybe I'll look at it more sometime. Now, in speaking of country women, here was a woman. I don't know how widely she was famous, because locally she was very famous. I lived for more of my life than I wanted to in Concord, New Hampshire, and she lived just outside Concord, New Hampshire. Tasha Tudor. She was an author. She lives on a farm in southern Vermont. See, she moved. But I know her. I can bring her farm to mind very, very clearly because I worked there as a carpenter. After she had left, I think it had been sold to Abby Rockefeller, and the carpenter that I worked for got the job of fixing. Yeah, there it is. I worked on the barn. There's the barn. Yeah, I knew that barn real well, and I walked this area. Pretty place. I could, of course, go right to it. Now, I wonder how it looks now. But in any case, she was a bit of an ideal, of that time, because of the way she had lived her simple way. Maybe she's widely known. I'm not sure. Now, these books, maybe I should immediately admit that I've got some cynicism about these. Permaculture 1. Permaculture 2. A perennial agriculture for human settlements. Perennial. The only reason that I say I'm a little bit cynical about it is because there was already a term polyculture, and it's one of the reasons I traveled to Portugal last year, was to see the polyculture, and this was kind of a made-up new word for it. Released in Australia, '78. And the word is still around. At the moment, I'm not going to do that much about gardening. It's so important, but I'm not going to do that much right now about practical design for town and country in permanent agriculture. I mean, very distressed about the way agriculture was exploiting. When's this? 1979. And there were all kinds of ideas about different ways of doing it, probably better ways of doing it. A lot of this was quite idealistic, but I am going to refer to it as I go on with other books. Now, finally, here's a book that it'll give you an idea of just how widespread this thinking was. Reader's Digest. I mean, that's one of the most common, ordinary books, publishers in the United States. Back to Basics, How to Learn and Enjoy Traditional American Skills. My dad gave this to me. Happy birthday, Frank. See, February 5th, that's my birthday. And I hope you will also enjoy it, Jane. That's my wife. You know, I so often think about Dad. You know, he wanted me to go to MIT. I could have gotten in. He wanted me to be an engineer, but I went to Harvard. And then I chose humanities instead of engineering. And then after the Peace Corps was done with me, and I had seen the other way, I was changed. So, but anyway, I'm very happy to have this book, and I actually think it's a very, very good book too. Reader's Digest. You know, spirit of the time. This was now, you know, by now, this kind of thinking was becoming widespread. I'm still looking for the publication. 81. But around that time too, Reagan became president. People started to use oil again as if it was never going to run out. All right. Well, anyway, that will be today. And notice that I'm beginning to move in the direction of actually building and techniques and what do you need to do if you are going to be a decentralist. All right. See you next time.